Hey guys, this is Chad with To Write Love on Our Arms. We're a nonprofit organization out there trying to help people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. You're watching on Antihero Online.
So first things first, Carolina Rebellion 2018, you guys have been out here for the past 3 days. What type of impact do you see that it's been happening by people coming to your tent?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, you said we've been out here for 3 days, but this is actually, I think, our 5th year out here. And it's been awesome just seeing this festival grow, but also meeting new people and hearing their stories. So one of the joys of my job is actually seeing these stories play out in long form. So, you know, whenever we come through Charlotte, I get to see the same faces year after year. I get to see their stories progress, stories of finding hope and help. So, man, this is a mainstay for us. Every first week of May, we're going to be here.
And how important is it for this nonprofit organization to be as closely connected to the music scene as you guys are?
Totally. So, again, our organization, we exist to present hope and find help for people struggling with depression, addiction, self-injury, and suicide. And, you know, I don't need to tell you, these just aren't things that often find their way into conversation. But at music festivals, we're reminded of a few things. You know, music reminds us that there's things in life worth singing about, worth screaming about, worth dancing about, and worth sharing with one another. So the idea is, you know, this festival exists because people show up. I think your life is the same way, that our life is going to be made more beautiful in the presence of other people. So we're going to show up as long as you keep showing up in the hopes of connecting more people to more people.
And tell me a little bit about some of the people that have come through and interacted with you guys over the course of this weekend.
Yeah, it's really amazing. You know, so as an organization, we've been around for 12 years. We just turned 12 in April. And we are talking to people that have known about us, you know, from MySpace years ago, and people that are meeting us for the first time. So I'm connected with people that I remember their first year doing this festival sober, or their first year when they've committed to counseling, and I get to see what that journey looks like a year later, 2 years later, 6 years later, these stories that keep going. And, you know, I've been touring now for 10 years for the organization, and it never gets old. Seeing these faces, getting these hugs, and really just being reminded in a really tangible eye contact way that people need other people. That, again, you know, like we're so much more human when we get to react to other people.
And with the topics that you guys try to give aid about have been really taboo for the longest amount of time, and people are kind of maybe embarrassed to talk about those issues. How important is it for your organization to kind of break that ground, break that barrier down, and help start that conversation that somebody might need to have?
Yeah, man. Well, you asked how important is it? It's literally a matter of life and death. Whenever we travel to these festivals, I don't have to convince a single person that depression is real, or that suicide is a problem, or that addiction needs to be faced with more compassion and less shame and judgment. I don't need to convince you of that, because you have friends, you have family, you have your own story that points to that. But that's so often where the conversation ends, just an awareness that these things suck. So we hope to take it a step further and say, look, it's okay to not be okay, but don't think for a second that you're in this alone. And that's where the light comes on. People saying, wow, like I don't have to walk around burdened, that someone gets me. And it's not just us at the booth, but seeing other festival attendees wearing the shirt, man, that's some great nonverbal communication that, hey, you're on my team, we're in this together. I don't have to walk through this place feeling like a loner or a stranger. So it is taboo, but it's not rare, right?
Yeah.
So the hope is to just give people a voice to say, these are okay topics to talk about. And not only the issues, but also the idea of help. The idea that counselors exist, that resources exist, that when I leave this place, a conversation can continue for the next 52 weeks until we re-meet.
And tell me a little bit about what the organization does in terms of offering that help.
Absolutely. So we're not the counselors, we're not the treatment center, but we're at our best when we get to serve as a bridge to connect people looking for help to that help. So that means meeting people where they are, whether that's a festival or online or at a college or a high school. And from there, we highlight resources that are within your area. Wherever we travel, we come with a list of mental health resources in the cities that are sending folks to the festival. These are places that we've interviewed that we feel comfortable sending our friends and family to. And then on top of that, we also invest financially into avenues that do treatment and recovery work. We don't want to send you anywhere that's going to close your doors due to a lack of funding. marketing, and we want to make sure that they are as well equipped to handle everything that you're bringing to the table as they can be.
You guys have been doing this for a while, and the times have started to change a little bit, and people are starting to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Can you compare? How can you compare when you first started the organization to now?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like looking back over the past 10 or 12 years, originally when this came up, people would associate us with their favorite band wearing a T-shirt. Maybe they thought that we were a band. Maybe they just saw this as a trend. But again, we just turned 12, and not many things get to turn 12. And it's not that we've done anything brilliant, but we think that we've struck a common ground, and we definitely found a common ground of people that are ready and willing to talk about these things. So I think that that's been the major groundswell of not just normal folks like you and I talking about it, but we're seeing more and more artists take the stage and talk about it. Like the dudes in Five Finger Death Punch over the past couple years, they've been talking about songs that deal with real life. In the music industry, we've lost folks like Chris Cornell. Like the issue isn't who is or is not immune to these issues, but it's where can we learn lessons from one another. That Chris was not the first, and he won't be the last to struggle with thoughts of suicide. But can we kind of provide dignity to Chris's legacy by reaching out for help when we need it? Can we further our stories? Can we show up to more shows? Can we wake up to see the next album come out? So much of it, again, to answer your question, is the conversation is shifting because people like you and people like every attendee here are saying, you know what, I'm sick of not talking about this. That we have so much more to lose by not talking about it than by having an awkward conversation. So hats off to interviewers like you, hats off to listeners and viewers like you guys. This all rests on your shoulders to continue to carry this message of hope forward.
And with the very public deaths of Chester and Chris Cornell, do you think that kind of opened the door for some of those conversations to be had? Because for a lot of people, those were musical heroes to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it does. I know in my own life, I've been able to have conversations with friends in the industry that are more raw than we've ever had before. Folks that I've known from touring over the past 5 or 6 years, that through tragedy, we've been able to have a deeper friendship. Through tragedy, we've been able to have conversations that I get to know them better, they get to know me better. We don't always get to choose what stories we're a part of, but we do get to choose what we do with those stories. And I'm of the opinion, as is everyone else in our organization, that these stories deserve to be shared, that the story doesn't end with this supposed last chapter, but we get to, like I said earlier, honor the lives of the people that we see day in and day out. We get to do better by them.
And where can people go to kind of find some guidance if they have any questions or if they're seeking help?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is a great starting point. So that's twloha.com. We have a page called Find Help that's there. There you can find resources by geography and also by topic. Beyond that, if you're going through a tough time, you can text anytime, day or night, to 741-741, and that'll get you immediately connected to a trained responder to help you navigate whatever it is you're going through. And that's a service run by our friends at Crisis Text Line. So hope is real, help does exist, and if you need a starting point, please just check us out, twloha.com.
And the last question that I got for you is, if somebody is going through those thoughts and the issues that they're going through with depression and thoughts of suicide, how do you think that they can possibly start that conversation and save someone's life?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we have a lot of wisdom in our own hearts, in our own minds, in our own bodies, that if at any point you feel like things aren't right, that things aren't normal, listen to yourself. And again, that's not that you are any less of a human. That takes a ton of courage to say something doesn't feel right. We often relate mental health to physical health. Like if I were to collapse right now and break my arm and I refuse to go see a doctor, you'd be like, man, that's dumb. Like, you should absolutely go see a doctor. You have a broken arm. It's the same thing with heartaches. The same thing with brain chemistry, that you are allowed to ask for that help. So the wisdom I would say is listen to yourself and share this journey with other people around you. Find friends, find family, find a counselor that people that know you that can help fix your perspective on a current situation. You're not expected to have all the answers, but there are people that are in your life already this moment that can help you on that journey.